Bem-vindos a Não Temos Biscoitos, com seu moderador, Jason Marshall.
Hey everybody, thanks for downloading the show. Cinco de Mayo was yesterday, and I'm sure most of you were out partying, having a good time. Today is Cookies de Mayo, and we're going to keep having a good time on today's show with today's guest. He's always on the move, and he's in his car right now driving to a show. He's been on the Tonight Show. He's been on Comedy Central's Premium Blend, and making his way back to the podcast for the third time. He's the host of the Pocket Party podcast. It's comedian Darren Carter, the party starter. How you doing?
I'm great, man. Thanks for having me on. That's right. Pocket Party is in your ear holes right now.
If you're listening to this for the first time to hear Darren, make sure you check out other appearances. I'll have links to those in the show notes. And make sure you subscribe to the podcast too. But before, we've talked about you performing for Snoop Dogg's family reunions and how that came about. Do you have any stories from that?
It's funny that you asked that because out of the blue, his cousin reached out to me and was like, hey, we're having another reunion coming up July 4th weekend. Do you want to do it? So I told him I was available. I put a little price out there, and we're just waiting to hear back.
Wow.
But yeah, it was funny. Like the first time I did it, I've done it twice. And it was really amazing that they, first of all, he saw me at the Hollywood Improv. His cousin did. And was like, you want to do we'd love to have you on this reunion show. And he's like, let's have dinner with so I had dinner with Snoop's mom, Snoop's aunt, and his cousin.
Damn.
And they came to my show to kind of check out what I do. And they hired me. And then I went there and performed. And it was funny. They told me to kind of keep it clean because it's just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was just it was in a big banquet room at a restaurant at the Reef.
Are you going to bring your podcast equipment with you and see if you can get them on the show? Because that would be epic.
Oh my gosh. Wouldn't that be cool? Man, I should, right? I never even thought to do that. Yeah, that would be cool. Even if I got like a soundbite, right? What should I ask him? Or what would be great if I had? Like, people might just think it's me imitating him, though. You know what I mean? Like I'll do it right now for your show. Hey, Snoop Dogg's actually in the car with me right now. Snoop, would you like to be? Well, what's cracking? We don't have cookies. I love this podcast. It's my favorite podcast. You know, I switched from Anchor to Podbean, and now we on Libsyn. But I'm on weed because it's 420, even though yesterday was Cinco de Mayo.
You do a hell of a Snoop Dogg.
Oh, that's real, baby boo. Yeah. Anyways, that used to be my big thing, was doing Snoop Dogg impressions. But yeah, I've been pumping up the YouTube channel with interviews and doing the podcast. It's pretty cool. Well, I love that we're in this time where we can do this now.
Yeah, you can do just about anything, unless you're me, who always forgets social media exists. And I think that holds me back a little bit. I need to start doing better. But there's going to be a lot of bedroom talk on this interview, Darren. I was listening to one of your recent episodes, and you had a comedian on from Ohio who was giving some advice he was given by an old coach of his to keep his bedroom clean.
Yeah, it was funny. He said that he's a wrestler, and his coach went to his house. He told him, he goes, Brian, your room is cluttered. You want a free mind? Get rid of the clutter in your mind. Get rid of the clutter in your bedroom. And he had him clean his room. And he said from that day forward, he always associates a clean room with a clean mind, a clear mind, and able to achieve his goals. And he said that, I guess his mom is a bit of a hoarder. So when he goes back to Ohio, he'll straighten up the boxes, put everything in order, and really just clean it. And one of the podcast listeners told me after listening to the episode, he goes, you know what, man? He goes, I've been inspired by a couple things. Number one, that wrestler's about 40 years old, and he's been hanging on to this high school dream of taking wrestling further. And he wanted to do it before he got older, and he went back. And one of the listeners told me, he goes, I'm inspired now. And the listener that listens to the Pocket Party podcast goes, I'm going to enter a chess tournament. I haven't done a chess tournament in 3 years. I'm going to go out and do one. And he goes, I was also inspired to clean my room. And then he goes like this. He goes, actually, I don't clean my room, but I have my kids clean their room. That's pretty funny. I go, yeah.
What was crazy is while I was listening to that episode, I just happened to be cleaning my room at the time. And I feel the exact same way as that guy. I've always told my kid that I want her to keep her room clean, not so much just because I want her room to be clean, but because I think it does help clear your mind and stuff. And if you have a lot of clutter around you, you're going to be more agitated and anxious.
You really are. Another thing I like to do is make sure my windshield is clean when I drive, because even if the car is dirty and it needs a car wash, as long as the windshield's clean, to me it seems like a clean car.
Yeah. And I'm not saying everything has to be pristine or anything around your house. I'm not telling people that, but if it's clean and it's organized, you feel a lot better.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I have a friend that was telling me the other day, he goes, I take time to clean the fan blades on his ceiling fan. He goes, because when it's not, and it's a little bit dusty up there, he goes, people feel like I've just sort of given up on life. Like, dude, he goes, but there's something about having clean blades like up there.
Well, I put a lot of effort into getting as much sleep quality as I can. I'm a really restless sleeper, so I have room darkening shades, room darkening blinds, anything that has a light on it that glows when I'm asleep, when the power's off. I have it on a strip that I turn off at night. I close the door. I have a fan to drown out noise. I stretch before I get in bed. I take some melatonin. But one day I was listening to your podcast. I listen to it every week, and I heard you mention,
thank you.
Oh, no problem. It's a great podcast. But I heard you mention that you wear an old school nightcap to bed, which is something I never thought of. How did you come up with that idea? Were you reading like a Charles Dickens book or?
Well, I mainly do that if I'm traveling and I'm in a really cold region. When I'm home, it's like, actually when I'm home, I get kind of hot. Like if it was up to me, I'd be lowering that air to like 70 degrees or maybe lower, like at night. But my wife is like, I'm cold, but she's so sweet. When she wakes up, she turns the fan on for me. So that really, you know what I mean? I got a nice fan blowing, but yeah, when I'm traveling, I carry like an extra beanie, like just only to sleep in, and I'll just sleep with it. It really helps. It's just something about like it goes over your eyes or ears, and it just feels kind of cozy, especially when you're in a strange land, in a strange room, in a strange city,
I started wearing a beanie to sleep, and I like it because it keeps my head warm when it's cold. And when the sun starts coming up, I just pull it down over my eyes like a sleep mask. So I wanted to bring you on to thank you for that.
Hey, you're welcome, man. It's great, right? Like I was Googling, I may have said this on my show, but so I was laying there, half asleep, and I was like, when did night? And they said that what happens is back in the old days, people lived in these big houses and they were cold, and so what they would do is your bed would have a canopy over it, so your bed would stay a little bit warmer because it's surrounded by fabric, and then on top of that, people would wear pajamas and then a nightcap, and that would make them even warmer. And of course, you start Googling next, you're on some rabbit hole of because I looked up nightcap and you talked about wave caps. I'm like, what's a wave cap? I'm like, what is a wave cap for? And then I started reading about hair growth and how different races their hair grows and at different rates of speed. And then it's like, because I believe it said Asian hair grows faster than Caucasian hair. But this is like stuff that you learn that you just can't wait to tell someone. Then it sounds kind of odd. Yeah.
Well, I have another song for you from John the Songman. You just started appearing on the podcast last November, and each time John has made a song for you. This is the third.
Oh, wow.
This is the third one. I'm pretty sure that's a record for songs for a single guest.
Well, the first time he got my name totally wrong. I wonder if he got it right this time.
Well, a listener pointed out he made a second one to make up for getting your name wrong on the first one. And the second one, he just started out by saying your name. The rest of the song was about me.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
We'll see what this one's about. I'll play it right now.
Hello, I'm Darren Carter, the one and only, never lonely, the one that treats disrespectful people like baloney when they don't act so nice like a little pony. And if you ever treat me like a fool, I'll kick your ass inside of your pool when I hit you with a stool to let you know that I am so damn cool.
That was interesting. Interesting.
I'd like to have you on my birthday episode. Maybe we can set something up with you two so you could do a freestyle battle or something.
Let's do it.
I'm pretty sure you could take him. All right, Darren, I want to thank you for being on the show today. Is there anything you'd like to promote before you go?
Just my YouTube channel. Search Darren Carter and subscribe. I put out videos every week, and the Pocket Party podcast. And if they want to listen to any of my comedy albums, they can either buy it or stream it for free. I have 4 albums. Look up Darren Carter and on Spotify or wherever, and you'll hear all my comedy albums.
And you can find all of that and more at his website, darrencarter.com. I'll have a link to that in the show notes, as well as the links to the past episodes with Darren. I'm going to take a quick break, and when I come back, I'll be joined by the podcast's official weatherman, Frankie MacDonald, to break down this week's weather and more, so stay tuned.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, the world's most dangerous man. You're listening to We Don't Have Cookies.
Want to contact the show? Send an email to jason@wedonthavecookies.com or call 929-266-9342 and leave a voicemail.
I'd love to hear from you. I reply to everybody who emails me, and I also would like to have some voicemails to play on the show. And in case you missed it, there will be links to the contact info at the top of the show notes. On the last episode, I mentioned that I need help and ideas for social media. Somebody reminded me that I said during a show with the wood enthusiast that I would start posting pictures of the trees in my yard once a week on Twitter. I completely forgot about that, so I'm going to start doing that this week on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, so follow me on there. I'm at JasonMarshall2 on Twitter. We Don't Have Cookies on Instagram and Facebook. Make sure you give that page a like. Speaking of the wood enthusiasts, here's the latest segment by them.
Wouldn't you like to know all things about wood?
Hello again, Larry Woodstone here from the Wood Enthusiast community, doing a little bit of fun facts for you on today's episode. We wanted to share with you the difference. There's kind of 2 main tree types. A lot of people don't know this, but there's coniferous and deciduous. Coniferous and deciduous. So sometimes you're going to be confused as to what, which is which. That people say which is which. And the best way to remember coniferous is that it produces a cone. Coniferous. Things like pine trees and fir and spruce are softwoods, but they're coniferous trees, where deciduous produce leaves in this case. Okay, so just remember coniferous.
Do you love all things wood? Follow the Wood Enthusiasts at Wood Enthusiasts on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.
When Larry from the Wood Enthusiast was on the show last, we were talking about how one of my fish quit eating and spends its time hiding. She hasn't been coming up for food for a long time, and I only feed her when she comes up for the food. I told Larry that I thought it was on a hunger strike because it hurt us talking about how much I can't stand that fish. I'm happy to say my fish has finally ended the hunger strike. That's the latest on that. Now here's the one and only Frankie MacDonald with the latest on the weather.
We don't have cookies. Stay prepared.
What's the weather going to be like this week starting on Monday?
And the weather for on this Monday in Manhattan, New York, and Long Island, and Queens, New York, and all these places. Going to rain. It's going to be 19 degrees. It's going to be summer-like temperatures with 5 to 10 millimeters of rain on Tuesday in New York City and up around New Jersey and Atlantic City, New Jersey. Then it's going to cool down again on Wednesday. Then it's going to bring some showers and rain on Thursday and Friday in New York on May 10th.
All right. Do we have any weather reports for overseas?
Overseas, including Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, it's like 30 degrees Celsius. It's going to bring thunderstorms to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, with thunderstorms on Tuesday, May 7, 2019. In Manila, Philippines, it's going to bring a lot of rain in Manila, Philippines this week coming up. And up around St. Louis, Missouri, it's going to bring the rain and thunderstorms in St. Louis. They're under a flood warning now. In Los Angeles, it's going to be around 20 degrees, 19 degrees this week. In greater Los Angeles, California, in Jakarta, Indonesia, it's going to bring the risk of thunderstorms on Monday and Tuesday with high of 32 to 33 degrees Celsius, low 25 in Jakarta, Indonesia. And it's been really cold up around Europe and like Denmark, Netherlands, Germany, Poland, Norway, Sweden, Finland, and all these places. It's pretty cold there in those places. Right now, it's going to get colder in Winnipeg, Manitoba, North Dakota, USA, South Dakota, and all the way down to Nebraska, Wisconsin this week.
How was your birthday?
My birthday is great. I am 35 years old now.
What kind of Chinese food did you have?
Chicken balls, rice, sugai, egg roll.
Nice.
And in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, it's going up to 30 to 40 millimeters of rain on Wednesday, May 8, 2019. It's going to bring a lot of rain in Wisconsin and parts of Iowa and Nebraska.
Well, somebody heard your birthday episode, and they sent me a message. They wanted to know what your favorite heavy metal band is.
Metallica.
Do you have anything that you'd like to promote before you go? By the way, that's a good choice. That's my favorite band, too.
Frankie MacDonald action figures. People can order them on Amazon.ca, Amazon.com, and FrankieActionFigure.com. And people can order my book is Be Prepared to Frank Down Guide to Life, where and everything on Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, and Barnes & Noble websites. And people can order my Talking Bobbleheads on National Bobblehead Talking Frankie Down Bobblehead.
All right, Frankie, it was great talking to you. I hope to have you back next week.
Best of luck to you. I'm Frankie MacDonald. You're listening to We Don't Have Cookies.
Well, now that Frankie's gone, I probably should have asked him what the weather was going to be like in my area this week. I've been working really hard trying to get things going with my landscape project. I cut some trees down in the wooded area. I spotted some morel mushrooms. If you haven't heard of those, they're really, really good mushrooms. They grow wild where I live. I went out with my wife and kid. We ended up picking 50 of them. And when you cook them, you have to cut them in half. So that's a ton. I was really surprised that we had so many, and we didn't really have to go out looking for them. I just stumbled across them. But one day I got up earlier than usual to work outside because my dad was going to stop by to help me cut some trees down. I spent 6 straight hours chopping trees down with an axe, getting a wheelbarrow to carry the wood from the big trees, and dragging all the brush to the fire pit. My dad went home a couple hours ago at this point, and I was dragging this big tree that I chopped down across the yard to the fire pit and the wood pile. I have my earbuds in, and my phone starts ringing. And I'm trying to keep walking so I don't lose momentum dragging the tree while I try to get one of my gloves off so I can tap the earpiece to answer the phone. And I'm really tired, and I'm really annoyed that my phone's ringing, and I assumed it was like my kid trying to call me to tell me I need to come inside, because if my wife or my kid doesn't call me, I'll just work outside all day. So I answer the phone, and I just said, yeah, and a guy says, is this Jason? And I thought it was my buddy Sid Vicious. I haven't talked to him in a while, so I thought maybe he was calling to see what I've been up to. So I stopped what I'm doing to talk, and it was somebody from the podcast network that Elena just signed with. He said they wanted to schedule a call to talk to me, and he got my email so he could send a reminder with his contact info. A few hours later, I went inside, checked my emails, and that's when I realized the guy I talked to was the president of the network. And I instantly regretted the way I answered the phone. I also got another very pleasant surprise around that time. I got an email that somebody used the donate button on the website and gave $100 to the podcast. They sent me a message saying that they meant to do it anonymously, but realized that it showed their email address on the donation, so I won't say who it is, but I made sure that I told them how much I appreciated that, and I want to thank them again right now on the show. I promise that the money will be put to good use and none of it will go towards cookies. But if you would like to help out, go to the website WeDon'tHaveCookies.com and click on the Get Involved tab. There's a lot of things you can do to help the show that are completely free and would only take about 2 minutes or less. Or you could scroll to the bottom of the homepage and click the donate button. Anything you can do goes a long way, from telling your friends to subscribe to donating $5. It's all appreciated, and it helps out more than you know. And now it's time for this week's Strange Days. If you're listening to this on the day it comes out, Monday, May 6th, I'm mowing my grass. I just realized last week, it took me a while to figure this out, but it costs me $17 every time I mow my grass, and I probably have to mow it twice this week. I never really thought much about how much it cost me till last week, but anyway, Monday, May 6th is Beverage Day. Frankie MacDonald will be drinking Pepsi nonstop that day. Wednesday is National School Nurse Day. Thursday is Europe Day, which seems a little broad. And it is also Lost Sock Memorial Day. I do all the laundry at my house, and I was just thinking about this last week. I can't remember the last time I lost a sock. I don't know what all you people are doing out there to lose socks, but you got to get it together. Friday is Clean Your Room Day. Darren, Carter, and I will be texting pictures of our clean rooms to each other that day. Saturday is Astronomy Day. It's so close to Haiku Astronomy Day. It's just so damn close. It is also Twilight Zone Day, so make sure you set your clock ahead 6 hours. And Sunday is Limerick Day, which is a poetic ending to the Strange Day portion of the episode. It is also the end of the episode. I have another very busy week ahead of me this week, so there may not be an episode next week. Hopefully there will be. I said the same thing last week and everything worked out just fine, so who knows? We're all going to find out together. All right, thanks for listening. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening. Tell your friends about the show and leave a review. See you next time.
Today is Cookies de Mayo.